Absolutely. As now we see the drivers make their way into the pit boxes. Dobbs, Robertson, Kinder, Barlow going to go all through four of them and take his place on the first pit stall. Wide bracket falling in behind. As now we wait to see these four tires and fuel and who's going to be able to win off pit road first. Adam Lancaster drops the jack first. Alan Dobbs is going to get off away early as Lancaster is going to jump all the way up to third with that, almost beat Robertson, and they make contact, and that is not what you want to see. That might be a pit exit violation on 28, but that is a very devastating blow to number 2 car. You got to hope he didn't get too much damage out of that, but that was a hard hit to the inside wall.
Down the straightaway, we'll get a replay here and show you that one again. That car was really consistent and really strong. I was thinking Robertson was going to be a big factor in the finish of this race. You see Adam Lancaster and Brandon Robertson coming out side by side from the exit of the pit lane, and there was for the completion of 4 fresh tires on that machine. Dobbs got him out of the pit lane, no question about that, but Lancaster got a really great pit stop, came out beside him, and just trying to have enough room between both himself and the wall and himself and Lancaster. Obviously, he misjudged how much room he had to his right side and just clipped that wall. Unfortunately, that's going to be a big blow for Brandon Robertson, but he should be able to get that car fixed up and maybe before we even get back to green flag racing, get it back on the grid.
So getting on pit lane is going to matter a lot. Getting off of pit lane is going to matter a bunch as well. And we also see that margin from second and third starting to close up on the race leader, Jesse Webb. We were talking about the headlights. He was making good use of them there, trying to warn, oh, trouble in front of him. Look out. That's right in front of the leader. He somehow gets by after the 2 lap cars tangle in turn 1.
It looked like Gergois might have gotten on the brakes a little bit too hard, and he will collect Mick Blue as a result. Not too much critical damage for these drivers, but handling is sure to be an issue.
So Gergois, the car that got into the back of Mick Blue, who perhaps was maybe trying to yield to the leader, who was warning that he was en route and on the way. And Mick Blue also ended up spinning around. They now fall a lap behind the leader, who, what a job, though, by Jesse Webb to slam on the brakes as they all came into turn number 1 with a full head of steam. And due to where Gergois' car spun on the pavement as we back into the barrier here on board with Mick Bloom, looks as though that Webb is going to live to...
The home of the Snowball Derby rarely sees action with anything less than a late model or a street stock, but how about some legend cars on this fine Tuesday evening? A big Bangs half-mile known as Five Flags is ready for a field of angry legend cars for HFL Legends Series round number 3. Welcome to Pit Stop TV, Andrew Cardinale IV with Justin Erb alongside, and we're just glad to be back into a normal bit of action here. The HFL Legends Series round 3, we had South Boston followed up by Charlotte last week, and now Five Flags tonight. One of the biggest tracks this season we'll see, and one of the fastest for sure. Long sweeping corners, some decent high banks for these legend cars. It is going to be an interesting one for sure. Welcome to the track. Let's take a look at the track map here in just one moment. You can see about a half mile in length. Depends on how you want to measure it, but Justin, take a look at this track map. There's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it's a bigger track for these little cars. So it's going to act I feel like it's gonna be a action-packed race tonight with everything that's gonna be happening, especially with what has been happening with the last few races with these guys. It's gonna be flag to flag action as usual.
The official series U.S. Legend Cars lap record on iRacing is an 18.312 set by Cameron White. So far, the fastest lap in practice this evening on this custom league setup is an 18.482. You can see all four corners. It is darn near a full oval in shape. I guess a true oval in shape, you could say. And of course, it is known for super late model racing, but this evening, bringing you the sights and sounds of the HFL Legends Series. Here are our point standings coming into this evening. Take a look at them. They will go away, because of course we have to get to some race car action. But Matthew Boniface still on top of the points. Brandon Herzing now really the only driver currently in contention of just taking the lead at any point in time. Kirk Schweizer, Jesse Fox, and Martin, those guys could make inroads, but man, are they a little ways back. 22, 27, and 32 points back apiece. And then you get some larger deficits back here. 43, 43, 45, 48, 60, 70 for Donald Fish there in the 12th spot. But a lot of these guys have had one good race, one bad race, and this is where we might start to see some of these guys have two good races, two bad races, but then, one of the other. It's going to be interesting how things change after this evening.
Yeah, throughout a whole championship, you got to be consistent. I mean, it's not all about winning every single week. Definitely helps, but with how everything works, especially in like a short season like this, just being consistent will put you right there to help out. I mean, look at Herzing in second place there. He's only 6 points out, so anything can shape up in the later half of this championship.
Yeah, of course, we still have a ways to go this season. Only 2 races done. 8 to go, including this evening. Here is a look at the schedule for this season. South Boston, Charlotte, they've happened. Tonight, it's Five Flags. Next week, it's Hickory on January 31st. Then Lanier, Nashville, and Lakeland. Finally, we go to Lime Rock and Indianapolis before we have a to-be-determined round for the championship that the top 5 in points will vote on when it is time. But worth mentioning, Lanier, that is a dirt race. I keep saying we're going to turn that one brown. Maybe next week we'll finally get it. But Lanier will be a dirt race, and Lime Rock, of course, will be a road race. Otherwise, these guys are on asphalt ovals all season long, but to have that kind of variation in there, even if just for one race apiece for dirt and road, that's special.
Yeah, and with just how the variety is on all these tracks. I mean, we had Charlotte last week where it was just completely flat, and then we move on to this week where it high banks for at least these cars, and then you have Lanier, Nashville, and then, as you said, Lime Rock. I mean, these guys are going to be going all over the place.
So there you go, the full Legend Car series for the HFL Legends series this season. And, we closed off on last Tuesday, on January 17th, Justin, with a brief moment talking about that we were, going to have a big change here at Pit Stop TV, and that we had a big weekend coming up. Well, that big weekend has happened, and I just want to shout out to my beautiful girlfriend, Kayla Rondo, who, not necessarily what we planned, but delivered us Andrew Cardinale V, on Sunday morning, 11:05 Eastern Time, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time, and they are across the hall. So if you do hear him screaming, rather, he may decide he wants to be heard on a broadcast a lot sooner than we thought. But yeah, Andrew Cardinale V has finally joined the broadcast team, if you will, and I do want to say a big thank you to everybody yesterday, Tyler Payne, Payne Built Legends, and everybody else over there for the understanding in scratching last night's broadcast from the bull ring, and the understanding here. Brandon sent me a message earlier today, and the goal was to broadcast through it like nothing ever happened. Unfortunately, we had to miss last night's broadcast from the bull ring, but Brandon Herzing, thank you so much for your understanding, because you messaged me earlier today asking if we had to scratch today with no issue at all about it, and thankfully we're here tonight, we're broadcasting, we have a race for you, but the understanding has been incredible, the support has been incredible, even from these communities that are so brand new to Pit Stop TV, and a shout out goes out as well to the North American Racing League. They moved a race for us last week just in case he came early, so just a great understanding and support from everybody here that we work with at Pit Stop TV. You guys are all amazing, and it really does mean so much when something like this happens. But let's go ahead and talk about some practice times, because it is that time, if you will, for practice to come to a close. Matthew Boniface, fastest. Boniface is really just quick.
Oh, but I mean, look at everyone else behind him. What is that? The top 6 after him, or yeah, the 5 after him are within 1/10 of the lap time. I mean, that's incredible.
That includes guys like Maverick Davis, Timmy Martin, John Barry. How about Mark Smith in the 5th spot, and Dylan Calabro joining us from Car 71 this evening. I believe the first race that he'll be making in this season as practice comes to a close. And that is it for, well, practice for these guys. So it's on to qualifying now. These guys have just a few moments. If you're new to iRacing qualifying, we get a lot of family and friends that are, so no worries. But if you're new to iRacing qualifying, usually you get a session quite like this, where in the case of Jesse Fox, he's heading out on the racetrack first, but anybody else can go out on the racetrack at the same time, so we'll bounce between cars and give you updates as we're able. As Fox gets out on track, Barry will join him. Now, the other thing about this is these guys do not see each other on track, so they could theoretically be running in about the same place on the racetrack without even knowing it, as Boniface will come around and take the green flag on his qualifying run. But it makes it really special. It's something that a lot of people don't quite understand at first until they try it themselves, this qualifying thing on iRacing, but it really is an efficient way to get things done. And Boniface is going to come around and complete lap number 1 for himself. Other drivers checking in: Jesse Fox an 18.789, but Boniface is going to jump up to an 18.469, much quicker.
Yeah, but with this, even though that all these drivers don't see anyone on the track, as you alluded to, everyone can qualify essentially at the same time. But the only indication that you have for any times being posted is the leaderboard. So while you're running, you don't know what the other drivers' times are. It's so fun and exhilarating to just watch the times always pop up from each driver completing their qualifying run. And just seeing these guys, we're going to see what happens with the leaderboard coming up here.
Cars getting on track. Brennan Herzing goes second quick, and there we go. Eric Sellers jumping up a bit quicker there. Still over a 10.5 off of Matthew Boniface. So these guys are sitting back a little ways. We saw Timmy Martin as well. He's going to wrap up his run. Only 2 laps for these drivers, it looks like, as Maverick Davis completes his second lap and comes across the line. He'll go second quick. Eric Sellers to third. Herzing to fourth. Chris Franz now up to the 7th spot here at Five Flags. Calabro in 6th. And Boniface still well out front by over a 10th over Maverick Davis. Fish and Holmberg, they jump up. There's Holmberg now up to 9th place. Justin Hamlin is 10th. Here's Fish now up to 11th.
Yeah, and with the disparity in those times that are popping up, you said that they might be hanging back. I'm thinking it could just be that it's the same type of problem that we were seeing last week with how these tires are reacting to being completely cold. As the 71 just dives straight into the wall. It could just be that the tires need a little bit of time to get to their operating temperature, so then you can get those times that are close to, say, Boniface up in first.
Well, it looks like Fisher may head out on track, he may not, but a look through your order so far puts Boniface on pole. And remember, these guys, they will get inverted. That's what I'm trying to get to. So Boniface will actually go back to the 5th position in his heat. So we do have a heat feature, a heat format, and I keep forgetting to explain this better, but the heat format basically will take this field into 2 parts, sometimes 3 if we have a large enough field, but with about 20 cars this evening, we'll take it into 2 parts, 2 heats. Heat 1 and Heat 2, actually, the top 5 will be inverted from their qualifying positions for their starting order for their heat. But then where they finish in their heat will place them on the starting grid. And so Boniface will have to race back from 5th, it looks like, as Douglas Fisher puts it in the inside wall and will have to take a big goose egg for his qualifying run tonight at Five Flags Speedway. That is a tough one to swallow. That is never easy as a driver. You go out there, especially when you're the only driver on the track, so you get the attention on the broadcast, and you bin it in the inside wall. That one hurts.
Yeah, it can be. And sometimes it's just the nerves of you only get 2 can really start to get to the driver. I know I've done that countless times in my own qualifying sessions, and I feel for that. It does sting ever so slightly.
We'll take a look at the weather conditions for this evening as, we are at a night race. There's no sun in the sky, obviously. You can see it's nice and dark. 71 degrees still, nearly 72. The track temp is 74 degrees. This is a warm race, actually. These tires will take temp decently quick compared to some races, especially some night races where you get temps down in the 60s, and those track temps never really rise above 65, 66, something like that. So we will have a decent bit of heat in the track. That means we'll see a little more grip out there than some races, but it's still going to be a little bit on the slippery, slidey side for these guys as those tires just struggle to take in the heat. We'll see how things work over the course of the evening. Heat 1 is coming up, and we'll be showing you a full field of, it looks like, 10 drivers for Heat 1. No, actually, we may be getting, I'm trying to think, we had 19 cars. Are we forcing it? We might have tweaked. Michael Peters, do you know if things were tweaked to force a third heat? I'm trying to think. 8 cars in Heat 1, that would lead me to believe that we would have 3. I'm kind of confused by this, actually. Unless we're locking somebody in, but no, we're not locking anybody in. I am perplexed.
It could just be a little glitch going on.
My math here. Some were disqualified. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Maverick. Yes, some were disqualified. I had forgotten about that. So it looks like we're going to have about 16 cars, it looks like, for our race this evening. Let's talk about our first grid of the night, though. This makes a lot more sense. Yes, Maverick, thank you. That makes a lot more sense. I saw that briefly loading in. I had forgotten about that. So your grid then for Heat 1. Let's take a look. Jesse Fox on pole. Timmy Martin will start from the second spot. Mark Smith joins us from third here in Heat 1. Invert his number from 17 to 71. That's Dylan Calabro on the outside of row number 2. Matthew Boniface, pole sitter this evening. Fastest qualifier, I should say. He'll start from 5th in Heat 1. Justin Hamlin will start from 6th. Meanwhile, it's Mike Matherly and Douglas Fisher at the back end of the field for Heat 1. The first attempt for these guys, first chance, I should say, for these guys to set their starting positions. And it's so important in races like these to get up there and get a good starting spot.
Oh, for sure. And sometimes with a bigger track, well, I guess you could say bigger for these. It could be the fact of if you're up front, you might stay up front, barring a mistake.
We'll see what these guys can do as we'll trade in the red flag for the green flag here in just a couple of moments. Thanks for joining us here at Pit Stop TV. We really do appreciate it. A big shout out to our partners here with HFL Legends Series, Edmund Box, and Salington Tool Manufacturing. The first green flag of the evening coming your way as we go green from 5 flags, 10 laps for Heat number 1. And it is 3 wide out front quick. How about that at the front of the field? They get it 2 wide now down to turn 3. 3 now into row 2. And we've got contact on multiple levels. 2 cars up in the outside wall. Calabro and Fisher in the wall. And there goes Mark Smith from the race lead across the line. And we have got problems everywhere.
Yeah, it's looking like these guys are just trying to deal with these cold tires. It might have been beneficial to kind of settle down for a few laps or really attacking.
2 laps complete now in Heat number 1, and Matthew Boniface will lead. There is the 17 of Smith trying to get back going. And he'll be doing so rather slowly, already 1 lap down. Not much he's going to get out of this aside from 7th in this heat. So he should start from about the 13th spot or so. Here's Timmy Martin. I'll go on board with car 17. And Timmy sent me a message earlier asking if he could run Pit Stop TV logos to all you drivers. Absolutely, go for it. Let us know if you need a copy of those logos, but he has got some on his car, and I would like to believe that's why he is currently running second in this heat, Justin. He's got a great position here over Justin Hamlin, and I don't think he's looking back.
No, I wouldn't if I were him. I'd just kind of, at least in a heat race, I'd focus on trying to track down a leader, but not to tear up your stuff while doing so. So we're just going to have to see how it plays out with coming up to 5 to go in the heat.
About equidistant out front, you've got Boniface, Martin, and Hamlin, all separated by a half second, maybe 6/10 or so. Further back, Mike Matherly is in the 4th position. Calibro, who was involved in that lap 1 melee, is sitting in 5th, and you can see the damage to his number 71. Jesse Fox rides around in 6th after his damage as well, and Mark Smith back on track as Douglas Fisher actually will leave the pit lane and join us back on track as well. So it's good to see everybody getting back out there at least to run some laps. These laps could actually be huge for guys like Douglas, who now have very limited laps in this heat race, and just make sure he's still in the groove of things and still warmed up for your feature race here in just a few more minutes. As these heats, man, it's sometimes tough to explain the fact that, yes, we just had a big crash, but we won't go yellow flag for it, but man, does it keep them going by quickly.
Oh, yeah, for sure. With, excuse me, like, with these heat races, I mean, it's just basically a last chance qualifier for these guys. So if they didn't like where they qualified in the actual solo qualifying, they can race their way up the grid. And that's why it can be so exciting as we take the white flag for Michael Boniface here.
White flag for Boniface, 1 lap to go. And this white flag brought to you by Whiplash Media Simcams, as always. And Boniface around turns 3 and 4. That is a checkered flag once again in a heat race, and he will start from pole in our feature this evening. Go handicap the 95 car. He is just too good and a legend. As Martin will finish 2nd here in this heat. It's Hamlin 3rd, then Matherly, Calibro, and Fox. Your top 6 drivers, your only 6 on the lead lap for heat number 1. So heat 2 in the chamber, if you will, ready to go. Green flag here in a moment. 8 cars here as well, as we'll be starting 16 this evening. Slightly smaller than we thought, but we can talk about that here in just a few more moments, as Dave Holmberg will join us from pole in this heat. Take a look down below at your full Heat 2 grid as Holmberg starts from pole. Franz will start from 2nd. Starting 3rd, it's Brandon Herzing in car 96 alongside Eric Sellers, 2 of the big-time hotshots of this series, if you will. Followed up in row 3 by none other than Maverick Davis and Fish, as it looks like we got a little bugged up there. There we go. There's Maverick Davis and Fish. I promise it's just 1 fish, not 2 fish. Red fish or blue fish. But John Berry will start from 7th and Ron Blackwell from 8th here in heat number 2.
I love that. All right.
I'm practicing, Justin. I'm practicing.
Well, that actually works because these guys are also practicing for the race. So with these heat races, if I'm allowed to go back to what I was saying, these heat races are not only an opportunity to move up the grid, but they're also good race practice for the actual feature because you're around other cars in a quote-unquote race start. So these guys are getting valuable seat time on track in these heat races for the main feature.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mulligan as well. You can have some kind of issue, as it looks like Jesse Fox saying, yeah, it's loose on that first lap with cold tires. You can have that issue. You can have that learning moment and bounce back because, yes, you might lose starting positions, but you've still got a feature race that actually pays points. Later on, there'll be a yellow or 2 probably, and you can get those spots back. Let's see where these guys are going to start, though, for the feature as we go green in heat number 2 from 5 flags. Loose already is Holmberg. You see the entire field checking up as we go down to turn 3. Look at this land rush down to the inside as positions are moving around. Franz up the racetrack, and Holmberg's going to spin. Oh, let's smash him up into the outside wall, and Fish has taken a wild, wild ride.
Oh, man. You slop around like a fish out of water.
Last week we had fish flying. Today we have fish flopping. We'll take a look at the replay here in a moment as these guys come around turn 4 and wrap up lap 2. Franz will be in a battle here with Davis, it looks like. We'll let this pan out until we can, or before we take a look at that crash, that terrible, terrible crash. Herzing now your race leader in heat 2. Davis 2nd, Sellers 3rd, and Franz now in the 4th spot. Let's take a look back at that replay. That was huge.
Oh, let's see what happens here. Someone gets bumped going into turn 3, I believe.
Oh, there were no bumps, I don't think. Just cars getting loose, and you can see Holmberg got loose there on the bottom side. That comes up, and oh my goodness, Fish in the 16 up and over and just tumbling around in the air. We'll get one more replay of this and go back to live green flag action and maybe look away if you're a little bit squeamish or a little bit motion sick. This could be a little bit scary. Another big hit for car 16. He has really taken a brunt of the impacts, I think, this season so far. And we're only in week 3.
Yeah, sometimes that's just how the cards fall. So we're going to have to see where that, if he can make a comeback, or at least try to keep it a little bit cleaner coming the main feature tonight.
We come back live to a lead change as Maverick Davis goes to the point, and I pull up the wrong ticker that might lag us a little bit, so bear with us. Sometimes you misclick, it happens. But Herzing will lose the first spot, side-by-side, nearly contact there to turn 3.
Oh, man. Trying to get around a lap car and then nearly make contact. Wow. Good job for keeping it off.
That's no lap car. Actually, that is Eric Sellers. Unless maybe that lap car just fell off that quickly. He might have. It might have been a lap car. It's tough to say. 3 cars under a blanket, though, battling for the race lead.
For the heat lead. But yeah, these guys are all right there. Anybody could take it.
2 laps to go. Popsicle sticks for heat number 2. Herzing down low, Davis up high, and Sellers waiting in the wings, trying to find his opening. He looks to the middle this time. Now follows on the bottom side behind Herzing. It is 1 lap to go this time presented by Whiplash Sim Cams here in Heat 2.
I was about to say, does it give him the chrome horn? Oh, he almost does.
Line up at the bottom. Here we go. Davis into turn 3. A bump there maybe to the 96 of Herzing. A drag race, and wow!
Oh, Herzing takes it.
Herzing over Davis and Sellers. 4th will go to Franz. John Berry will finish 5th in heat number 2. Fish will come across the line here shortly. Actually, he's 1 lap down, so he's already come across the line. And Holmberg does not make it back, so that is how the cookies will crumble for our heat races this evening, and in some cases the cookies literally do crumble. Hopefully no cookies on board car 16. That was a scary one for him, but we'll be right back here at Pit Stop TV in just a few moments with more racing action, this time for your feature this evening from Five Flags Speedway. We have got some exciting racing on hand. Welcome back to the virtual Five Flags Speedway in the virtual Pensacola, Florida. We're glad you're joining us this evening on Pit Stop TV for round 3 of the HFL Legends Series, of course, brought to you by Admin Box and Southington Tool Manufacturing. This is the home of the Snowball Derby. We're glad you're joining us for round 3 tonight. It's going to be exciting. It's a big, fast half-mile racetrack here in Pensacola, Florida, and it is a stunner for sure. Let's take a look at weather conditions one more time for this race. The track temp has changed now, 73 degrees in the air as on the racetrack as the air temp comes down ever so slightly, giving us a slightly cooler race and, of course, more icy tires. That's going to be fun. Let's take a look at our track info here, just the bottom, about a half mile is located, like I said, in the virtual Pensacola, Florida. But what's more interesting is we actually thought this was going to be a 35-lap race. This is a 50-lap race here, Justin, so maybe lengthening things out a little bit. Let's take a look at our official starting grid, brought to you by Whiplash Media SimCams. It's Matthew Boniface on pole. Brandon Herzing will start from second as the field rolls away. Starting third, it's Timmy Martin in car 13. Car 113, it's Maverick Davis. Starting from fifth, it's Justin Hamlin in car 15. Eric Sellers will start from the 6th spot. And 7th, it's Mike Matherly in car 21 alongside Chris Franz in car 73. Finally, it's Dylan Calabro and John Barry rounding out your top 10, just ahead of Jesse Fox and Fish, a couple of fan favorites there in row number 6. Mark Smith and Ron Blackwell, they join us tonight from row 7 before Douglas Fisher and Dave Holmberg look to have better feature races here this evening than their heat races. 16 cars in total, Justin. 50 laps it looks like we're going racing for now. It's going to be a fun one.
I think it's just going to be pure chaos. This is going to be interesting how these drivers manage these cold tires in these opening laps of this 50-lap feature, where, as you said, we thought it was going to be 35. So let's see how if any strategy plays out with these guys.
Adding 15 to the count, Matthew Boniface says, no problem, let's get this race. Green flag. Finally green here for the feature from Five Flags. Down to the speed shot to complete lap number 1, and we've got one crashing on the inside. It's Calabro slow down there. Everybody else continues on. No problems anywhere else in the field, but a caution will fly and halt our progress for just a moment as one lap complete puts Boniface out front.
I think that was a case of the cold tires there.
We're going to look back just to be sure, but yeah, that's definitely the talk of the town in these legend cars lately is cold tires on opening laps, man. It's tough to hang on. Then if you run enough laps to really wear those tires out, it gets icy there as well. This is Calabro's on board, and he gets up and into the back end of another car and goes for a spin there on the inside of the inside of turn number 4. He was behind. It's hard to say, actually. It was a black car just ahead. And let's see, the 15 car here, it looks like. That is going to be not that car. This one here, Justin Hamlin. Oh, hard in the inside wall there for a moment.
I did not see that on the live feed. Okay. Now the wall obstructed it.
And that checks out Jesse Fox as well out of that corner. We'll watch this one more time. And you'll see Hamlin just get loose all over the bumps there. I think turn down the racetrack right there and just turns into the inside wall. And then Fox checks up after nearly colliding there with the 15. Ooh. That was scary.
That was a good save, though. Well done.
Thankfully, only the one car injured, and he'll be leaving the pit lane now. It looks like actually coming into the pit lane for further repairs. So finally, Calabro will get a new left front fender, head back out with a fast repair, and get back on track after a slight detour to his night.
Well, actually, I would rather want...
Oh, green flag, look, just like that. That was quick. Did not expect that. Green flag once again, lap 6. And down to turn 3 on that hustle to green for the leaders. Maverick Davis Right behind Boniface, our first challenge maybe for the race lead. And yes, down to the inside goes Maverick Davis. Trying to take this lead away. He's got it for a moment. Now fully to the inside, and he's going to have the 95 car cleared into turn 3. Boniface tries to turn down to the inside. No opportunity yet. Oh, we've got a race in our hands tonight as Ron Blackwell has a problem in the back of the field along with Calibro. Problems for both of these drivers. They're slow still, and a caution will fly for them.
Oh, that was a good pass for the lead there.
And let's take a look at what happens between cars 27 and 71. Watch the red, blue, and green 27 there. Watch the 17 behind and the 15 to the outside. And actually, wow, no contact. Blackwell might have just downshifted potentially. And here comes Calibro. I think he was trying to pit and maybe serve a penalty.
Oh, maybe.
So first, the onboard with Blackwell. Then we'll quickly switch back to Calibro. And listen here. Listen into turn 3 with Blackwell. We'll see what the issue is. I imagine this is a downshift, but listen here. Maybe not. I think just loosen the brakes. That is really bizarre. And here comes Calibro, I think, trying to pit. And, oh, Blackwell maybe left him enough room and then started to pull away. And Calibro just had no choice but to pile in.
Maybe he didn't take a fast repair.
He did. I actually watched it fast repair quickly.
Okay.
But I think maybe was trying to serve a penalty for pitting on or during closed pits, I would imagine. No netcode there. The car just kind of naturally came around on him. Very, very interesting for Ron Blackwell. Thankfully, really nobody else taken out aside from Calibro. That would have been unfortunate if somebody else had been involved in that little spin. Pace car lights have been extinguished, and if you're new to racing, maybe a family member out there that's just watching your, be it brother, son, father, who knows what, sim race this evening, well, pace car lights being extinguished, turned off, signifies to drivers, fans, crews, whoever, that it is one lap of caution to go until we go green flag. So that's how we know that is, here we go, green flag will fly this time, and like clockwork, we're back racing out front. A proper challenge here from Eric Sellers. He's clear of Boniface down to turn number 3. Hersning going to follow in behind and try now to go to work on the 95 car. Not many passes have been made on Boniface this season, yet 2 made today in quick succession.
Yeah, we haven't seen anybody really step up to challenge Boniface for, this entire season, as we have one around in turn 2.
Justin Hamlin, car 15.
Oh. I wonder if there was more contact, or if that was just another natural spin.
Of course, he was involved in the opening yellow on lap number 1 with Calibro. Gets hit there by the 14 car and just lazily goes around after help there from the 14 of John Barry. A couple of close misses.
Oh, man. Well, luckily it was just a lazy spin. It didn't send him fast up the track, and it didn't send him barreling towards the inside wall.
Take a look at it again. This time there's proper help. Barry gets in deep, and that just sends the 15 car for a bit of a lazy spin, and very close.
Oh, man, I always pucker up whenever I see close calls like that.
Those are called code browns.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, they are.
So 15 laps complete. Now we're into what we expected for our original programming here. We saw on the schedule 35 laps. It's set for 50 tonight. No problem. Let's go 15 extra laps, as we now have 35 laps to go with 15 complete and a few cautions to get things going. You know, we had a great race last week at Charlotte. Much fewer cautions. Tonight we're kind of back to that kind of caution, restart. And it's always difficult as a driver to pace yourself, because you might have something happen early. You're mired to the back. You see these cautions wasting laps, you know, in the driver's mind. And so you want to push harder. But if you're going to be able to use those laps, if you're going to be able to actually get up to the front, you've got to pace yourself and not have these cautions happen to be able to actually move towards the front. It's difficult for sure as we go back green flag racing. We'll see what these guys can do with 34 to go. Fanning out down the back straightaway. Boniface back up into second. Sellers drops into third. Martin gets on through to fourth. Here's the battle with Timmy Martin and Brandon Herzing. Chris Franz just behind, and Mike Matherly as well. But this, one of the more interesting battles I think we've seen so far tonight, as Herzing actually backs up Franz a little bit. This is getting interesting.
Yeah, the top 5 have actually been shuffling around on at least the last 2 restarts.
Franz going to have a run here on the outside. He looks to the outside of the 96 of Herzing. Herzing covers that up as we've got a race once again for the race lead. Here we go.
Yeah, Boniface just trying to see where Davis might be a little bit weaker comparatively. Just trying to eke out an advantage over Davis in the 113.
Matthew Boniface out of turn 3, putting some pressure there on the 113. And here comes an opening, it looks like, to the inside. Boniface looked. Nothing there. And into turn 1, he tries the outside, now tries the inside again. You can see him looking down the back straightaway.
While he's trying to get around the 113, don't forget about Sellers in the 97. It's almost backing Boniface up into him.
And that's going to allow it to be Martin to catch up, Chris Franz, all those guys. It's going to open up the door as time goes on and they keep slowing down. And how about the slide here for Herzing in this race? He is now down to 7th position, one of the top drivers in this series, struggling so much tonight. 6 points out of the points lead into this evening in the 2nd position in the standings. And he's going to turn Matherly!
Oh.
They keep it straight, kind of, but a caution will fly. iRacing deemed them far enough, spun around, and Matherly will draw this yellow after contact. Well, help, realistically, from Herzing.
Yeah, it looked like they were just trying to fight over the same piece of asphalt there.
Let's take a look here for cars 21 and 96. This is a lap prior. You can see them side by side. Matherly goes on through. That's what really piqued my interest. The fact that Matherly passed Herzing. That's not one we expected to see tonight. And Herzing took a look there at the inside of 4. Then into turn 1. Looks to the inside again. Matherly gave him an open door at first, but running his line comes down. And a little bit of contact there. It's hard to say really who's at fault.
Yeah, it could just be a racing incident. The 21 was just running his own line and possibly saw Herzing trying to cross him over. Try to shut the door ever so slightly on him.
Herzing has been EOL'd, and I think I agree with that call at the end of the day. It's on the passing car to get by cleanly, and in this case, Herzing was the passing car. Made contact, unfortunately, with the 21 and caused that incident. So I agree there as we will hit halfway. Maverick Davis, your race leader, then Boniface, Sellers, Martin, and Franz, your top 5. One of the more unique top 5s we've seen this season, with Davis now leading over Boniface, Martin and Franz up there. How about it?
Yeah, these names up there in the top 5, barring Boniface, I haven't really talked about them that much this season, but it's great to see new faces getting shuffled around up front. It's always fun.
You can see Martin sporting the Sallington Tool Manufacturing colors. Franz back there in 5th. Will be green flag this time. We're back racing with just under half. Oh my, Jesse Fox! Wow. He's still flipping, and a caution drawn immediately.
Ooh, and what was that fish that got caught up in that?
That was a lot of cars. We'll take a look here. That was just a lot of cars, as here is Fox up to the outside, and somebody come up, and wow!
Just goes for a ride.
Let's get a better look at things. I think that was Fish. No, who was that was right in front of him? Was it Fish? In the 16, it was, actually. Let's take a look here. So watch this blue 16 car and the yellow 20 car. Jesse Fox in this 20 going to pull well out to the outside. Lays back, gets a run on Fish for the restart. And Fish then comes up. And it's just on from there. What a crash, as I think one car went underneath Jesse Fox.
Had probably had a a Ricky Bobby moment there. Like, yeah, flying through the air right now. Oh man!
Let's watch this here. On board with Douglas Fisher. I think it goes underneath the 20 car and right there. Oh, almost.
Oh. Man.
Well, Jesse Fox out here just doing tricks, trying to find where he can hit some of our virtual cameras. Let's watch this from the point of view of our static camera on the front straightaway. Watch the field come into picture and watch the 20 come flying towards it. Gonna have to try harder than that. But you know what he may have hit, actually? He may have gone through the speed shot a little bit. Let's see if he got the speed shot on this next one. The speed shot's a little closer to the start-finish line. And right here, almost. And it looks like the field pulled a fast one on us. We have gone back green flag racing as Maverick Davis controls the race lead over Eric Sellers and Matthew Boniface. Every once in a while it happens. We're trying to review a caution. These guys decide they want to race it instead. How dare they, as one lap will go complete. And Sellers dealing with Boniface. And the 95 will take it. Side by side for third. Here's Franz down to the inside. He's to the inside of Sellers now, who starts to slide. And you have got to get to the bottom quick. If you get stuck on top, boy, are you headed to the back end.
Yeah, these guys still jostling for all the positions they can take right now as Boniface is starting to put pressure on Davis going into turn 3.
He's been tire saving. We wondered about why he was falling back early. I think he was saving those Hoosier tires on board the 95 car. Starting to put pressure now on Maverick Davis for the race lead with just over 15 to go. Pulls to the inside here. Is he going to have a shot? Yes, he's going to stick his nose down there and fight for this lead position. So close there out of 4. Across the line, it's still Davis.
Yeah, that high line can always be a good defending tool, but you got to know how to run it.
Look at that. Beautiful.
Oh, slides it right in there, and he's just like, hey, I want that back.
Oh, contact, I think.
I would do not doubt that.
15 to go, and the pass has been made. Boniface back out front, but maybe not for long, as Davis said, no, I want that spot back. Tried a couple of times, but now a separation up front, and I think that is enough for Matthew Boniface to hang on for now. Franz backing himself up to Mark Smith in the 17 car. Martin's back here as well. Matherly in 7th. 8th going to John Barry. Herzing in the 9th position. Mired way back here as there's some other battles with here. Oh, look at these guys. This is Fish, Blackwell, and Holmberg back here, 11th, 12th, and 13th.
Oh, all right. You know, these guys play out with each other. Looks like they're trying to keep their distance. Understandably so.
And the pass for 13th will go to Blackwell over Fisher. As here's your race leaders. It'll be 12 to go this time by. Boniface leading. It was 12 to go there. It'll be 11 to go this time by. That is how counting works sometimes. Sometimes, not always, trust me, as we're on board here.
Yeah, seeing how Davis is gonna... We're gonna see how Davis tries to get that ground back on Boniface. So he's been trying different lines, different approaches into turns 1 and 3. Just trying to claw back any ground he can get on the 95.
Boniface with the solid red, number 95 out front. 10 laps to go that time by. And you know what? Quickly, let's talk about Eric Sellers as we have a little bit of a green flag run, and I will knock on wood, don't worry. But Eric Sellers doing fantastic in this 3rd spot. He's had a couple of struggles this season, but finally turning things around for himself tonight in the charged up, number 97, as he just wants to get a good run underneath him. He's had struggles here and there, had a couple of bad luck happenings. I think has run worse, unfortunately, than really, I guess finished worse than he's actually run this season. But here we go. I mean, running in this 3rd position just might have something.
Yeah, and he's been putting up a good fight this entire race. I've been seeing him all the way back in the mid-pack, but he's worked his way up, and looks like he's keeping it.
You know, with Franz, there's a change to the race lead, maybe. I think Davis might have had it for a moment, or timing and scoring was tricking us, as I panicked a little bit there for a second. Sellers up the racetrack at a turn 2. 6.5 laps to go as Franz puts some pressure on, and how about Mark Smith as well? As Matherly and Barry are side by side. This is back here for a 7th spot. Barry going to take it over in the Salington 14. Matherly wants it back.
Yeah, and Herzing, I believe that is. He's right there with him.
Yes, he is.
He's right inside of the 21. Yeah.
Yeah, these two, remember, they had that contact earlier that sent Herzing to the back.
Yeah, we're gonna. Looks like it's a clean pass for now. See if the 21 of Matherly will. Looks like he's gonna back it up and not try to challenge back for now.
And here we go. Franz now to the inside. We'll get 5 to go. Franz will go on by Sellers for 3rd. A new position, a new driver on the bottom step of the podium here at Five Flag Speedway with just 4 laps to go and counting. Call it 3.5.
And the 17 of Smith is now battling Sellers for 4th place.
Again, if you get caught up top, boy, are you headed to that quickly, as Sellers now drops down to 5th spot. He's got a little ways back, though, to Timmy Martin, who is going to try and close in. And the Salington Tool Manufacturing, number 13, here in 6th position. Let's see, the deficit currently is about 4.9 tenths, 5 tenths, call it somewhere around a half second, as we'll have 2 laps to go. Popsicle sticks in the air for our feature race from Five Flags. And up front, this is your race leader, car 95. He is just so good in a legend car.
Yeah, Davis is still trying anything he can to get that ground back as we are coming to 1 lap to go.
White flag presented by Whiplash Simcams. The final time here at Five Flags Speedway. And down the back straightaway, Boniface, no challenge to turn 3. Call it 3 straight for car 95. No matter the last-ditch effort there from Davis, it's another checkered flag for the young kid.
Really well done race. I know we had a few cautions at the beginning there, but it really turned out to be a barn burner. Man, these guys continue just to keep putting on race after race that are just edge of your seat stuff.
Definitely liked the green flag bias there in the back half of the race. Good job, drivers. As Boniface goes to victory lane with 22 laps led tonight. A bit of a detour from his dominance in earlier rounds, but he will still take checkered flag, and what that means is he's still perfect on the season. Winning his heat races, winning his feature races. He cannot be beat.
Oh, but this time he had to come over some unexpected adversity this time around. I mean, the first 2 races he was flat out dominant, but this time he fell back a few times.
But it all came as a plan. He was saving those tires, making sure he had something late in the race. I will give you, though, he had to actually fight for it late, and that's difficult. To save your tires, sit back, lose those spots intentionally, and then hope you can gain them back. That is no easy feat, and Boniface worked it to perfection. Let's take a look at our unofficial race results. Justin, Boniface out front, Davis second in the car 113, just about a half second back. Franz in 3rd. How about that for a new driver on the podium? Mark Smith will go 4th. Eric Seller is your top 5. Then it's Martin, Barry, Herzing, Matherly, and Hamlin, your top 10.
Coming in 11th, you got Fish, followed by Holmberg, Blackwell, Fisher. Then you got the 20 of Jesse Fox, and then Dylan Calabro.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Calabro in the back, 46 laps down. Tough night for him for sure. But hopefully he can rebound next week at Hickory Motor Speedway. Let's take a look then. Well, actually, let's talk to our race winner once again. We are getting rather used to talking to Matthew Boniface. And, well, Matthew, another race win, 3 weeks in a row. How do you get it done?
I just try to just race clean and go as fast as I can, hit my marks, and just try to drive as hard as I can.
Why don't you say you try to drive as hard as you can, as fast as you can, but for a little while there, it looked like you were trying to save some tire and make sure you had something left at the end of the run. Was that the case?
Yeah, I was planning to save tires at the beginning of a race because the tires wear a lot here. So I just decided to save tires at the beginning. But I fell back because I was saving tires and there were cautions. So saving tires didn't do very much at the end of a race.
And of course, you don't have to give us all the secrets, but how do you save tires in a legend car? There's not much you can really work with.
I just kind of slow down and try to drive a line that isn't as hard as that doesn't wear down my tires as much or slide them.
Well, there you go. You got the Stay Back 200 feet sticker on the back of the car, and boy, did the field stay back of you. 22 laps led into victory this evening. Congratulations, Matthew. Hopefully we're talking to you at Hickory next week.
Thank you.
Once again, Boniface goes to victory lane in car 95, just racking those wins up. And let's talk about the schedule again here. You can see now 3 wins in a row for him. Hickory feels like almost a lock. I don't know how you bet against the guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it looks like he's just going down the book on how to race on these guys. I mean, we've seen flat out domination. We've seen great race strategy, and then we get to see him saving tires now. I mean, what doesn't this guy have that the field can't match?
Well, he's learning from some greats for sure. He's got a great team around him, and he's just going to continue to build in these legend cars on iRacing. You see the full schedule in front of you. Hickory next week, Hickory Motor Speedway on January 31st, and February 7th, we'll have the dirt race from Lanier Raceplex. That'll be a lot of fun. Lanier used to be a dirt track eons ago, it feels like, and now is a karting facility more often than not, but does still host legend racing on occasion right across the street from Road Atlanta. And boy, is it just a really cool racetrack to go to, whether it's in the sim or real life. That's going to be fun for round 5. The Nashville Lakeland, of course, USA International Speedway, before we go to Lime Rock and Indianapolis. And then the finale will, of course, be determined later on. Let's talk about our upcoming broadcast, though, here at Pit Stop TV. Coming up next on the channel, if I can remember where the button is. I go away for a weekend and forget things, but here we go. Thursday evening, it's the North American Racing League from Spa on January 26th at 8:30 Eastern. That race got put off by 1 week. Thank you again so much to everybody here. Whether it was the North American Racing League or Brandon Herzing here with HFL or even Tyler Payne with Payne Built Legends, you guys have all been fantastic and so easy to work with, and I'll be eternally grateful for making this week easier on us as far as these broadcasts went. Myself and my girlfriend Kayla, we really do appreciate it. It's so helpful. It's no easy feat to welcome a whole human into the world, so to be able to kind of relax a little bit and not have to worry about these broadcasts nearly as much is so huge. And it's more than just these few days, just this week. Of course, us having less stress helps, for a lifetime. But anyways, you can see Spa next up on Thursday evening, 8:30 Eastern for the North American Racing League. Then Monday, it's South Boston Speedway. And if you'll recall, we, of course, opened the season here for HFL Legends at Sobo, Justin. So these guys that maybe ran Sobo for HFL but also run official Legends will have some extra practice for that official week next week, beginning at South Boston on Monday at 7 Eastern with the SOF race, and then Tuesday HFL Legends racing once again, but this time from Hickory, where we were just recently at for official Legends. So we're seeing some of that crossover.
Oh yeah, and that's where again, seat time on these tracks can really pay off for these drivers, actually for anyone looking to get into any of this kind of stuff. Seat time is very valuable, and we're definitely going to see how that shakes out.
And of course, you can follow along with Pit Stop TV on any of our social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. We certainly recommend you do so, and we certainly would appreciate any follows, likes, subscriptions, what have you, depending on the platform. You see some of the links below, some of the usernames. Of course, Facebook at PitStopTV, Twitter at PitStopTV_, Instagram at Pit_Stop_TV, and YouTube search at PitStopTV1. That will do it for us this evening from Five Flags Speedway. But once again, thank you so much to all of the organizers with our series here at Pit Stop TV. Of course, you, Brandon, you told us earlier we didn't necessarily have to worry about tonight, but we wanted to be here, and boy, was it worth it. A hell of a show here at Pensacola. We really do appreciate it, Brandon. Also, a shout out to Tyler Payne and Scott Reister from, of course, Pain Built Legends and North American Racing League. You guys have been fantastic to work with in this difficult week, but exciting week, of course. You know, difficult because it's just stressful, but exciting. So exciting as we venture off into this new kind of foray, if you will. Next up for HFL, like I mentioned, Hickory 1 week from today, 8 Eastern on January 31st. We'll see you there. Do not miss that one. That's going to be exciting. Great race, maybe the best race of the season for Pain Built Legends on Monday evenings. It'll be exciting once again for us next Tuesday. Of course, a big thank you to our partners here, Admin Box and Salington's Home Manufacturing, and our partners with the channel, Whiplash Media SimCams, SimRapMarket.com, and Short Track Weekly. From the home of the Snowball Derby, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time here on Pit Stop TV, hopefully Thursday evening from Spa for North American Racing League action.